Alright, today's item is a Milwaukee Orbital Super Sawzall, and I got it from a guy that runs a construction company. And first of all, I don't know if you can really catch that on camera, but the screws I know are loose here in between this piece and that piece, so it's got a little play there. But what the real problem is if we look over the cord, let's see where it was. We got one ding there. That's just through the coating only. But this one is through the conductor. So, of course, it won't run, and it's right near the plug. A lot of guys would probably just say, hey, let's just clip off this last foot and a half, whatever it is, since the damage is here and there. And you know, put a universal type plug on there, but this guy runs a professional company, and I think they would sort of frown on that sort of thing if, let's say, it got inspected from OSHA or anybody else. So let's put an original Milwaukee cord back on it. Now, from what I can tell, this is the original cord set 22-64-0595. There's a number 142842903. It's original parts, and there's nothing wrong with using original parts because that's what it was intended to use, and you might open up somebody to liability if you use a cord set other than that. On this particular tool, I didn't choose to replace the, usually this is bad too, the, I forget what you call that, anti-strain relief or whatever you call that. I didn't choose to do that because it's good. This saw is actually not that old, but you can see I do have the original replacement cord, and we're going to wire it inside the Sawzall just like it was from the factory. This particular one uses a T20 Torx. Looks like a flathead also fits. No, these are not the kind. Never mind. I'm going to stick this one out a little more. I got a magnetic bit driver there. It might suck it back in, but I've got to get deeper than it wants to go. Stock. Let me put it in the screw first, then try to get on it. Just like that. Beautiful. Comes right apart. Oh yeah, the commutator. This is a newer Sawzall. They haven't used this one much. It's in good condition. Don't know if you can see that, but a lot of times those are quite eroded. These things take a beating. Let me get you zoomed in here. Right down on the switch there. And it looks like these are just tension thing. So if I release this, yeah, they come right out. You just put a little pressure on the side away from the wire, and it's just that easy. Wires are out, grommets out. Take the wire off the old grommet, feed the new ones in. Or the strain relief. I'm calling it a grommet. I don't know why. And then let's see how long the factory left the leads on the old one. Yeah, about half what's there. So I'll cut those to the length needed only. So it looks like these will just need about half the length they are. I'm going to unwind them. and make them approximately the right length, keeping in mind we're going to strip some of that back. Same thing on the hot light lead. Always run them just about how the factory did. Don't bunch them up in there. If they give them this long, they're just being generous. Don't run extra length. You know, they figured it out at the factory how it doesn't get into trouble, vibration doesn't bother it, things like that. So don't try to play hero and leave it the length of the replacement piece. One thing I did notice is they did not leave these bare copper on the original cord, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. They have actually put solder on these to make them harder, probably more vibration resistance, that it doesn't try to cut through the one-way little, it's got a little one-way connector here. You push it in and it doesn't pull back out. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put some solder on that just to make it just like they had it. I know as a workman you probably try to work around how the factory does stuff, but oftentimes there's quite a lot of engineering in you know, the proper length of you know, wires, and it's one of the few times that you really want to use the same way they did. And I'm just using a little torch here, burning these on, burning some solder into there. You can use whatever you have. Of course, rosin core solder, the electrical solder is the proper solder. Okay, now we get to the installation part. So the white wire goes to the white wire, black wire goes to the black part. We can see the white wire down below. We're going to go in the top hole, and we're going to stick it in there. It's a one-way connector, and it won't come back out. Same thing on the top one. Stick it in there. We can see that part moving out of the way. That's the one-way connector part. And that one, I don't like the way it's grabbing. So I'm going to actually take this solder and flatten that just a little bit, because I think it's trying to grab on that ball of solder. I got a little too much on there, so let me just smush that a little bit. I might have to remelt it, no big deal. Might have got too much of a ball of solder on there. Let's see if it seems to grab better now. And it does. Perfect. Alright, and that's about all there is to replacing a cord on just about any power tool, but in particular this Milwaukee Super Sawzall. Now I'm just going to go back, reverse the order, make sure that anti-strain relief is in there properly. And unfortunately I didn't watch which the long screw was, but I have a feeling it's this one, because that one goes through the case there. And this one also I think is the long one, and the rest would be the short ones. Now I'll just put those back in. Seem to be missing one of them somehow. You're just going into plastic here, so no need to torque the living death out of them. That's the one that was the deep one the first time, so I'll put the bit in just like I did the first time. Then try to get a hold of it with this. That's it. And I'm missing that one, so let's just pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't come with it. Yeah, right. And then the last thing I'm going to do is on this one, oh, there's the screw that I just was saying I lost. I have already found it. Last one. And then, as I said, on this particular Sawzall, these screws that hold these two cases back together, I could feel some give there. So I want to tighten those back up before it snaps on the owner and causes him a real issue. So here's the way I'm going to get at that. I'm going to try to go around this little, there we go. This is the orbital or straight cut switch. I'm going to just fold this rubber back. Luckily this is, like I say, a rather new one, and it's nice and pliable, supple, whatever you want to call it. And you can see now, maybe in the camera, how we got a little play there. All these screws have somewhat backed out. So let me see if I can get down in here on an angle. They're not out much, just enough to give that a little play, and once that play happens, the gearbox probably takes a beating. Let's see how that feels. If that's tight enough. Oh yeah, we're back to factory now. Let's just get this back covered over like it's supposed to be, and make sure that switch can slide between its orbital and straight position. I've got to get that rubber underneath that, really. Pry that up a little bit maybe, or stick it under. There we go, got one side, got the second side. Let's see how that works. Doesn't really like to go under it, but I think I got that rubber a little stretched right now. Yeah, I got it, but it'll bunch up because this rubber's all opened up right now. So once it springs back to its normal position, this will stay under there. I'm sure it will. Yeah, see, it keeps bunching up for right now. I'm going to leave it on orbital because I think that's all they use anyway, probably for most things. But anyway, that tightened up the body of the Sawzall quite a bit. So I hereby declare this Sawzall Wildwood certified. Thanks for watching.